One night I'm sitting in my apartment, the doorbell rings. I go and answer it, and there she is with a black plastic trash bag full of all of her clothes over her shoulder. And she told me she'd been kicked out of her parents' house and asked if she could stay the night. Of course I said yes, invited her in, and we spent that night and actually the next 2 years playing house and living together. We had a great time. Thought that everything was perfect, and to the outside world it looked like it was perfect, but inside it wasn't. One night she confessed to me that she had been struggling with depression, anxiety, eating disorders, that she hated who she was, she hated how she looked, she hated the lack of talent that she had, or the lack of talent that she thought she had, and had started cutting herself. The first emotion I felt was obviously sadness. This gut-wrenching sadness that I'd never felt before, that this beautiful, talented girl would be struggling so badly. I had another emotion that really surprised me, and that was of anger. I got violent, first with my words, and then it became physical. I pushed her down and hit her. And what continued was actually years of this kind of behavior where anytime we got into an argument, I would hit her or it would end in some kind of physical fight. I'd squeeze her too hard and I would push her down, I would throw things at her. One night it got particularly bad, and I was holding her down on the floor and was hitting her, and it got so bad that a neighbor heard her yelling out and came in and busted down my apartment door and pulled me off of her. After a period of time, I put myself through counseling and began to uncover parts of my past that I didn't realize had angered me so badly. Even though I grew up in a Christian home with pastors for parents, I had seen my dad be really cruel to my mother. I had seen him be physically violent. I had seen him use words that were unkind. And then he had had multiple affairs with my mom. Eventually she left him. All of this angered me to a place deep inside, and I had no clue that it was eating me alive. An opportunity came for me to move out of state, and I jumped on it. I wasn't done with counseling, my relationship wasn't healed, but I knew I had to get away. So I moved for a job and started a whole new life, new friends, new community, new church, but I was still really broken. I didn't hurt anyone because I never let myself get close to anyone. And becoming so isolated, I turned to pornography, and lust became my norm. It was the only thing that I knew. It was the only thing that would free me from the anger inside of me. A friend of mine started to pursue me in a deeper way and started to ask questions about my past, kept inviting me to his men's group, and that felt weird. That didn't feel like something I wanted to do. I didn't want to sit in a room full of guys and share my story. So I declined the invitation again and again, and eventually in a really dark period, a really dark week, I went to the men's small group, and there started a journey of sharing my story. Every Monday I started to attend the Refuge and started to share more and more of my story. Eventually I told the whole story, every part of it, the dirt and the grime. Although I expected to be completely cast out and excommunicated for being such a dark, ugly person, I was met with love and grace that I had never felt before. These guys became my community. They treated me with zero condemnation and shame. They introduced me to their families and their wives, their kids, let me play with their kids. One of them even asked me to be a groomsman in his wedding. Through the lives of these men, I began to understand that God could love someone like me after all. I began to understand the beauty of the gospel. Stories that I grew up learning in Sunday school became truths that I could build my life on. I'm not perfect, and I've learned that I don't have to be. His grace and mercy are enough.